When you discover everything you believe is a lie, where do you find the truth? In the new film, Let There Be Light, the world's greatest atheist finds his purpose after a near-death experience. It stars an actor you'll recognize. Today, I'm joined by Kevin and Sam Sorbo, the husband and wife team behind the movie. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thank you very much, Mike.
Yeah, you betcha. Where did this story come from?
I had this idea that I just wondered what it would look like if the world's greatest atheist had something that challenged his faith. And so the more I thought about it, the more I thought this would make a great movie. So I went to a friend of mine, Dan Gordon, who's a well-known screenwriter, and asked him if he'd consider writing it with me. And of course he said no, because he's a well-known screenwriter. But we went to lunch, and when I told him the idea, he jumped in with both feet. He was very excited about it because it deals with real issues for real people. It's a real human drama, and that's enticing for a writer. And then about 2 weeks after we made an agreement to write it together, Sean Hannity called my husband literally out of the blue and said, "Hey, Kevin, I want to do a faith-based movie and I want to work with you. Do you have anything?" And Kevin said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I do." So the three of us flew to New York and we pitched Sean, and within half an hour, he basically pulled his checkbook out and wrote a check to fund the entire thing.
Wow. Amazing.
And within 4 months, we were filming it, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that moved pretty quickly. What's the premise of the film? Can you give us some background on it?
Sure. The world's greatest atheist has a near-death experience, and he sees something that completely challenges his worldview. And so because of that, he spirals out of control. He hasn't been on the right path. He's been on a fairly self-destructive path to begin with, following the loss of his oldest son. And so the grief has taken its toll. But then this thing happens to him, and he just has a complete breakdown, basically. And,
well, he leads a very high-profile life. He's probably the world's most famous atheist, sort of like in a Hitchens and a Dawkins sort of world. And when this happens to him, even before that, though, his private life is pretty much broken. And he lost a son when that boy was only 8 years old, and that tore apart the marriage that we have in the movie.
I play his ex-wife.
And it's when he has this, it's a love story. But when he has this downfall in his life, this vision that he has. He actually makes him go even more crazy.
Exactly.
And she's the only person that really knows him. So he comes crawling back to her and saying, "What do I do with this? Because none of this makes sense to me anymore."
Yeah.
So it's about love. It's about forgiveness. It's about
faith, redemption. It's actually, we touched a lot of subjects. It's about the importance of fathers and involved with kids as well. So
yeah, do you see?
I guess a lot of different themes in the movie.
Yeah.
No, it's fascinating. Do you see a parallel between what's going on in the world today? There's a lot of issues going on, and I guess the rise and the popularity of some of these faith-based films.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. I mean, you look what Hollywood puts out, and they have their own. Every movie's a faith-based movie. You think about it. Everything's got, atheism is a religion.
Somebody's faith is attached to everything that you're seeing, and I think that there's a substantial number of Americans who are kind of fed up with their worldview being challenged by someone else's worldview, and they're looking for entertainment that uplifts and that reaffirms their worldview, and that's why you see the rise in Christian cinema. And the other thing is that it's become much more accessible for productions to produce high caliber Hollywood films. I mean, I'd put this film up against any Hollywood film. It's a really good drama, and people are very profoundly moved by it when they leave the theater. And our ultimate goal with this film is to offer people some hope, and that's what people leave the theater with. They feel uplifted and they feel hopeful. And that's really what this is about. And there's a lot of messaging coming out of Hollywood that's less than hopeful.
Well, it's a negativity. I mean, there's a lot of let's celebrate the dark side. Let's celebrate the anti-hero. And I think a lot of people, especially New York and Hollywood, unfortunately, call a lot of the states flyover states. Well, there's tens of millions of people living in those states, and people want to see movies that have an uplifting message. I love this type of movie. It's got great character development. It's got a great storyline, and it's going to make people laugh, make them cry, and hopefully make them stand up and cheer. Well,
this film started with the two of you. You guys worked on it together, and now you're out there telling the world about it with these interviews. What's it like working together?
We just filed for divorce.
That's right. Well, we've done this before. I mean, we did meet on the set of Hercules back in my Herc years down in New Zealand. I was down there for 7 years, and she came down during season 4. So, and we've done other projects together as well. So,
but this is the first one where I got to be his boss.
That's true.
That's also not true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Where can our
I've
viewers
been the
go?
boss since the beginning. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Where can our viewers go
It's
for
been
more
great.
information? And when does the film come out? I'm sorry, we got to wrap it up.
This Friday.
October 27th.
Okay.
We need
this
people
Friday.
to go to the theaters
People, please
this
go.
Friday.
I believe it's at Marcus Village Point 16, so please
Awesome.
go there. Look, independent movies are independent to a certain degree. We need people to show up to these things. We don't have a $100 million budget like Pirates of the Caribbean or Star Wars does to promote the thing. We need people like people that in your state to go to their churches, tell them to go to their local theaters and say, look, we will fill this up because people want me to make these movies. Well, we made one, so please support it or they will die a fast death, and we don't want that.
LetThereBeLightMovie.com. LetThereBeLightMovie.com. Thank you so much.
LetThereBeLightMovie.com. Kevin and Sam, thanks for your time and good luck with the film.